Blah! Hello, everybody. Hope we're doing well this evening. Cat made a breakthrough. We're gonna do some stuff. For those of you who do not know, I'm working on building a Protogen Head. One of these things. Very excited. And I made a breakthrough on screens. It will be mounted in a V formation inside of the head that will be making the faces that you see like we have here. The goal for tonight is going to be a couple things. One, I'm going to showcase to you the my demo, my more active demo, but I'm actually going to walk us through the process. We're going to make some faces. So right now I have more of a generic, general expression. It's not particularly good, but again, it was a first off. And then we're going to make some other ones. We're going to load them to the board, and then we're just going to kind of toy around with the display a little bit tonight. I don't know if we're doing anything else. We'll see how far the tinkering takes us tonight. So that is what we have planned for this evening. So we're going to get into it. Alright, let's see here. Okay, so before I do anything showing off code or anything of the like, I want to show you what the panel looks like. I showed a brief Adafruit demo for the last time that we were toying around, but this is going to be a demo of my very first custom face that I have put together. Again, it is nothing crazy over the top, but it is something that I concocted up. So this is the panel, and all these tiny little dots are LEDs. So every single one of those is an LED. It's programmable, it's controllable, and it's multicolor, RGB. On the back, we have our power connection. The pigtail does allow for two screens to be hooked up to one harness, and then our data cable. The project, once we get it off the ground, is going to have two of these in a V formation, like so, the V. And then the data lines of this one will get plugged into the other one, apply power, and then hopefully with figuring out the code, we're going to do some fun stuff with this. But tonight, all I want to do is put together some sprites that we can put on the screen, show you the one I have, and get into it. So that's at least the hardware we're working with. So let me get up the code. I'm going to show you the madness that I thankfully managed to be able to make some sense of, which is exciting. Okay. So this example is broken into two separate files to make this a little bit more readable. We've got 45 lines in the main sketch, and then I have a sub-sketch that contains the single face that we've made thus far. And that just lives over here. Did this so that it would be really easy, so that we could play with more than one facial expression and not muck up the main sketch. The plan is to do the same thing with the production code. We're going to make the facial expressions and then bring them over to the main project via reference, like I have now. I realized I loaded up the wrong station. There we go. So yeah. So for starters, a little bit of this is going to look familiar from last time, and some of it is new. We continued to use Adafruit's Proto Matter library, and I came across a serious level of confusion with trying to use this library and to make some faces. Because all the examples I was finding online seemed to be pretty straightforward, but doing one thing that was a little different than what I was doing. They were taking actual bitmap images, copying them over to the actual project controller itself via mounting it like a USB and accessing the storage area, quote unquote, or attaching an SD card to the project, loading your pictures onto that, and then loading it into code, converting it on the fly. But the problem is I have so much that I'm packing into this project, with there being the controller, the fan control, the integrated internal menu that we're going to have to allow us to select our face. I don't think we're going to have enough overhead. I know for a fact we don't have enough pins without adding more complications to this. So in an effort to keep this from turning into something that could become more hardware intensive, like adding shift registers to this to add more pins, what we're going to do is we're just going to stick with taking our images and converting them into a data matrix to play with. Not a gamer, welcome on in. Now, the area at the top here is the same as the previous example. This is our pin definition of where the green, blue, red, and data lines are. That's exactly the same. That's the same, and our startup initializes the screen, and it has this little loop here that indicates that nothing will happen if the screen doesn't initialized. Apparently the code will do weird things if the screen's not ready. So it was strongly recommended to have something in here to prevent the code from moving forward when the screen doesn't work. So that's the example they provided, which is fine. Now, now comes where things get confusing. It makes sense now that I understand how it works, but it was pretty damn confusing for the last 3 days. I want to have a green face, like the character you see here, with a green face. That's a color that is not in black and white. But the issue with not fully understanding what I was playing with is that the matrix, the bitmap that's broken into all those characters I showed you on the other screen, hey Mountain Man, welcome on in, is technically monochrome. It's black and white, and that means that the data is either on or off. That also means that we're fitting all of this into an 8-bit layout, not 16, not 32, 8. The reason that's important is that this particular function does tell you right here that it accepts only a uint8 bitmap. So if you try to pass it something that's bigger than 8, it won't work because it doesn't know what to do with it. Here's the reason that caused me some confusion. I want a green face. And the way that this function works is that you give it the offset of X and Y, the actual face itself. I didn't change the name of this because again, this was just sample code I was playing with that finally got it to work. The general expression that I'm going to show you, the variable is just called LED array, and FF would indicate on, and 00 indicates off. Now, by me highlighting that real quick, you could see here that there's a hell of a lot more of them that are off than on. And a couple of them here aren't FF, which is interesting. But this particular code layout does not indicate color. The color comes from this area right here, matrix.color565. This is where we pass the red, green, and blue that we want the expression that we're working on drawing, the color of the LEDs, of what they will be. So I'm going to pass it all of the different LEDs are on or off, and then this dictates the color. Green, I want just a solid green, no mix of any of the other colors, means that blue is off, green is at 255 for maximum green, and red is off again for maximum green. If I combine any of these three colors, then we get a mix of the rainbow. This drove me up the wall and down the other side because depending on which method you use to bring over a bitmap, if you just bring over the entire image and have the code on the fly, turn it into machine code, which you totally can do, then that bitmap is going to have color in the data. This method doesn't do that. So I ended up banging my face on my monitor for a good amount of time here. And I'm gonna work a little backwards. I'm going to show you what the face looks like, and then I'm going to show you the program, and then we're going to actually make some faces, because I do want to actually build some more sprites, and I figured, why don't we just do it live? So here we are. On the workbench, I have my display. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to attach the display to 5 volts. I'm going to plug it into the computer. And then you're going to get to see my first attempt at making some faces. Because I can tell you something right now. It's been an experience that I can confirm. Once I understood that pretty simple, I don't want to call it a pitfall because, I mean, well, I guess it technically was for me. Getting to that point, I still have to figure out what this is all about. When I attach power to this, and there's power already to this doesn't start. I have to figure out why it does that, but that's okay. All I have to do is open the ground on the wire, reattach it, and then we'll get a picture. So that part I don't fully understand. And I present my first attempt at making a face. We got our little nose right here, and then the drop carrot for the tooth, a little bit of a angle here, and then our eye. So that is my first attempt at making a face. Again, I do need to figure out how to attach the second display, mirror this so that on the opposite side it will then also show, well, the mirror, frankly, so that the expression transfers to the other side. But let me load up now how I got this, because I used a really nifty program to literally just click on which LEDs I wanted. I converted it to a picture, I converted the picture to code, and I added it to the project. So we're gonna do the same thing tonight to make some other expressions. Now, whether doing this by just uploading the actual bitmaps themselves to the project, would that be easier? Would it take up more space or less space? I would think technically it would take up more space, because just providing the raw code is going to be probably the most compressed it technically could be. So in an effort to save space, I'm going through the extra effort of taking it and converting it so that the project just has the raw code. The other thing too that's nice about that is that since it's just the raw machine language that it's going to have, there's no additional conversion that has to happen. So that's less CPU cycles and less RAM required. Because if it takes more space than just the image itself to figure out the conversion, because of course it would have to. It's got to load it into memory, and then it needs more room to convert it, figure out the math, and then, you know, you get your pretty picture. So this should lower the overhead so that we can fit more stuff onto this. I'm a little scared that we might run out of room, and if we do, I might have to go back to the drawing board and find us a slightly larger ESP32 controller with more RAM and storage. Fingers crossed that we don't need to do that, but if we do, then we will. But for right now, I'm not worried about it just yet. The worry is getting there, though. So, okay, let me scoot this out of the way, and then I'm going to load up in this program, which is called LED Matrix Studio. This was made by an individual It is free for download on SourceForge. That's where I found it. It's a passion project. And if I go to help and about, it was made by the gentleman Paul Allen Freshnelli. And their email address is also right there in the contact information if you're so interested in reaching out to ask any additional questions about the program. I can tell you that the button that I thought was going to make life really easy, this generate code button, I thought was just going to be, you know, I'm going to click it in magic. No, not things, no magic, just lots of frustration. So we didn't use that, and I'm gonna show you why I can't use that. If there is a way to do what I need to all within the program, then I will. But for tonight, I'm gonna at least show you what worked. I do want to make some more silly expressions. So first things first, let me open up what I had made. Shocking. For those of you who are in my Discord, you've seen this already. I just turned on the respective color I wanted, and here it is. Doesn't seem too terribly complicated. You choose a color, you click the dot, and that adds it to the bitmap. Now the nice thing is that I can actually hold my click here, and I can add and remove the colors. So that adds some nice flexibility. And since it positions these like exactly where the LED is, when it gets converted by the other application, it's as spot on as you're gonna get, because you're taking a image, quote unquote, and converting it. So the matrix is 64 by 32. So it's 64 across and 32 LEDs deep, like down, up and down. And that is the size of our matrix. Now, once we had this, we then exported it as, export to images, I think is what I did. Yes, export to images, and then I saved it as this toothy grin. And here it is. And it opens up hilariously small, because most of the pictures that you take today are of a fairly large resolution. This is not a very large resolution. So I have to zoom in at 800% to get it just kind of on the screen here. The thing is damn small. And look at that, I could zoom out to 1%. You can't even see it anymore. Oh my word. But at 100%, that's pretty damn tiny. But that's okay, because we don't want it to take up a lot of space. So the fact that that's how big the image is on screen, and if you printed that out, that's probably about as big as one of your fingernails. Mega tiny, right? Yeah, you are correct. It is a 1-to-1 pixel ratio. Exactly. Now it's funny because the display itself is pretty beefy. It's quite large in the hand. But conveniently, the size of this is really small. Now, if we take a quick, I know the one thing I didn't look at was how big on disk this takes up. It takes up a whopping 6.05 kilobytes, or 6,198 bytes of information, as an image. Now, once we've converted it, it's technically smaller. I really wish I had done the conversion ahead of time. But I'm gonna show you what comes next. So, as a reminder, I want to put this out. This is how big the data is that's working. It's a total of 17 lines, right? I want you to keep that in mind. 17 lines. What didn't work? So this did not work. I came up here to generate code. I then told it I was using an ESP. It's not an 8666. but I came across this pretty serious issue. The size of my display isn't in here. This is a 32 by 8. That's the wrong size. And it's funny because if you come down here, it says that the minimum width is 32, max height is larger than the size we're working with, and it gave us this little warning over here. So I'm like, oh, all right, well, let me choose one of the other languages. Let's go to Arduino. Same problem. I have more options, but they're not the right size either. Now there's a 4x, this is an XX, which gives me a width of unlimited, but again, the height is limited at 8. I have a height of 32. That doesn't work. So then when you look at the code is fairly small. It's not too many lines, but it's formatted for the wrong screen height. And I was like, I don't understand. This is supposed to be flexible. You can tell it the size of what you're working with. So I'm like, okay, this doesn't make any sense to me. And then, yeah, there's other options here. I clicked through them. That didn't get me anywhere. So I'm like, all right, pivot. That doesn't work. But that's okay. I can at least take this, turn it into an image, and I have other things I can feed that into. Now, one other thing I want to show you is this LCD image converter. This is something that I almost got close with, but also didn't work. And let me show you what this did. Now, this shows scan direction. Now, we've used this tool before on this channel for the 30 Days Lost in Space franchise. And our matrix, this is where I ran into some serious confusion, because the data needs to be in monochrome format, but there's an option for color. Well, that's cool, but the library I'm using doesn't support color because it adds the color. You don't put the color in the data. It adds the color based on which LED you want turned on or off. So when looking at this and doing a preview, the preview looks pretty good. But you see how long this data is. It's pretty damn long. Like really, really long. Like bigger than 8 bytes long. It's huge. So that kicked me in the ankles. And that's funny enough set to 8-bit. And that, like I said, there's other options for the block sizes. Because it said for color that you would want to switch it to 16. And if I do that, you'll see that the matrix of each individual LED is longer. It's not 2, it's by 4 now, to equate to the 16. But again, it's too damn long. So once I figured out that the data was supposed to be monochrome, I'm like, all right, cool, I can do that. I did monochrome, and then I came up here and I did monochrome, and then I'm like, okay, so that should be fixed. And I have the right scan direction, and the matrices information looks okay, the ordering looks okay, the bit flavoring is okay. I had to Google this. Little endian looked okay, even though it's not in the other thing we looked at. But then when I do show preview, it's still too damn long. No, it's closer because it doesn't show the green, but that's okay because the green is added by the library. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna bang my head off my monitor even harder. I thought, okay, there's clearly got to be a way to use this particular program to get what I want. But right now, I don't know what the answer is. If it's possible to do it with this one, I do want to reach out to the creator since he left his contact information, because if this does what I need it to, and I'm just simply not understanding, that's 100% on me, and me not understanding, but I'm trying very hard to understand, but the amount of information I've had to look through and decode, I'm at a bit of a loss. but that's okay, because I know that if I shoot off an email and, you know, the guy can get back to me, that'd be awesome. But again, this is open source software. The guy wrote it because he was not really too fond of writing out his matrices by hand on paper. I read the about section of this program before I downloaded it, and I praised that he made it because it makes this next part a hell of a lot easier to make these ourselves. So we have this, right? But we don't want a picture, right? We want this. We want this stuff. So now let me show you how we got that. So we're gonna go over to the internet, and for those of you who have followed me before have seen this website. We did again use this in the 30 Days Lost in Space franchise. Except I couldn't figure it out last time, and I remember that because I didn't figure it out. So naturally, when I came back to this tool again, I said, all right, well, hopefully I can figure it out this time. Hi, fine. Welcome on in. And I did. So this works a lot like the other tools. We will pick on our expression. We add it in here. And then our canvas side is 64 by 32. It picked up on that because that's the resolution of our file. It's already in the perfect size for what we need. That checks a box, right? Next thing we need is we need a background of transparent. If we leave it white, that's going to turn on every other LED on that face, and you're going to get blinded. We don't want to do that. Plus, that would require a lot of power, which I'm going to be building a battery. So the less power requirements, the better. So we got that. Scaling original because it's already in the correct size. There's our preview, which is looking pretty good. We have a transparent background, and we have a nice little drawing of which LEDs are turned on. No color, just on. We then swing down to here, and we switch this over to the GFX bitmap font. Because this library, I need to click with tab, back over tab. This library was made by Adafruit. It's right here, Adafruit_protomatter. This ties into the GFX library that she has made. So by choosing that option on here, that then makes our image with a transparent background. It's in the right size, and on top of all of that, it's going to give us the right font for but the format for the library. And then we just click the generate button. And just like that, this matches 1-to-1 what we have in the project. This area right here. There's some extra definition information at the top and the bottom, but we don't need it. We just need the raw data. Just this stuff. And that right there is how you go from having nothing to something to being able to distribute it. Producing it on the screen using our lovely little display. So, with the help of you people who've wandered in here this evening, we're gonna make some more faces because I definitely want obviously more than one expression. Because I tried so hard to build this project to have more than one expression, and in fact, in having more than one expression, I want to be able to change the expression. So we built the menu. The controller talks back to the main board. Now we're going to figure out what faces we're going to make and then go from there. Now, right now, I'm just going to focus on the fact of just making this static faces. I'm going to keep the microphone in the project because I do want to add animation later, and I do want to get some kind of mouth animation. Because this does support animation. It's got a little play on the wrong scene. I want that one. There's a play pause and other things that are in the bottom here that are there we go. My mouse is moving now. There's play pause. There's things to build get graphical user files, GIFs. So I know it's well impossible to be able to add animation to this, and all the animation is just cycling through different static images to manipulate movement. We already have all the tools in the box in front of us here, and now I have enough of an understanding of a general idea of how to at least use them. So I am not, by any stretch of the imagination, an artist, but I do enjoy tinkering. And this tinkering is going to lean into something I'm not particularly good at, but we're going to do it anyway. Art. We're going to do some pixel art. And then we're just going to wander through the process. And my goal for tonight is that we're going to make a couple of expressions. We're going to convert it to code. And then we're just going to use a very basic switching statement to just cycle through the different faces on the screen. We already have all the code built for it to be manipulated by the controller that will be in the hand of the user. But I'm not worried about any of that right now. All this is going to get integrated into the main project. The main focus of tonight is just to make some pretty faces, and then we'll get it all together. Because I also have to integrate the fan control, and well, this. And then once we have all of that, I think we're going to finally start talking about the actual, actually then there's the battery. Yeah. There's the battery, and then we get to talk about the physical build of the Proto. So we are that much closer to starting to turn this into a physical reality, and I'm stoked. I did not look to see when we first started this particular journey, but if I take a quick second here and take a look in the Discord, I could probably tell you how long it's been, because I feel like I've been working on this for a decent amount of time now. Let me take a look here. So if I do a quick scroll backwards on my notes for this madness, because I'm genuinely curious at this point when I started, because I feel like it's been a couple of months worth of just tinkering. October of last year, so that's October, November, December, January, February, and we're into March. So it's been a full 4 months worth of time, and then we're into month 5. So that is an amazing amount of progress in that amount of time, because I only have a handful of hours on and off to work on this. And that is pretty exciting. So that's exciting. Big excitement. I love it. Okay, so here's what's coming next. I want to make some faces. So the first one I want to make is one of the ones, if any of you spend time with me in VR chat or have seen me, I don't have the expression on this particular model. Or I have it, but it's not key binded. I really should have it key binded. But it's the surprised face where the eyes go like super big and round. So we're gonna do that. What happened? Tracking, what are you doing? My camera has decided I belong in the floor. I'd rather not be, though, if you don't mind. That's weird. I don't know why it lost me. I haven't even moved. There we go. Get me back up here. It's telling me I'm on the edge. This camera tracks me. I don't know what edge. It moves. Whatever. It's fine. Okay, so we're gonna attempt our next dig here is gonna be a surprised face. So the first thing I want to do is I want to save as so that we can work on the next face. I don't want to overwrite what I have. Yes, I took backups, but I don't want to have to restore them. Because like any good project, we keep backups in lots of them, because if we screw up somewhere along the way, I could just go backwards. It's important to save your work. It's also important to make copies of it. All right, so instead of the toothy grin, this will be the round surprise face. Now, it is saving it in this .leds file extension, because this is going to be the file that I could reopen to then modify what we're looking at. So now that I've done a save as, I now should see, yep, that's in here. It's a little weird that that's actually not binded with anything. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so first things first, we have to turn off this eye and change the shape. Now there's some shape objects here, so we're gonna play with those tools because I'm curious to see what that will end up doing. All right, I don't want to completely turn that all the way off because I want to at least have a reference on where the expression started. All right, so then we've got a spiral pattern, we've got circle, when viewed erratically. Oh, radically? Yeah, all right. Ring, left click control wheel to change. No. Glad to see Control Z works. What now? Left click plus control wheel to change. Left click is, yeah, this one, the primary click. Well, that doesn't seem to work as intended. Spiral pattern. I am not going to lie, I'm a little confused. Oh, you know what? I wonder if this is for animation and not what I necessarily had thought. Yep, that's what it is. Isn't that something? Okay, so that's for animation. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's not what I'm looking to do at this exact moment, but that actually makes some decent sense. Is to why bad things were happening. Okay, so we don't want that. Can I just go back to being? I need to figure out how to turn that off. Well, there's the mirror button. But again, I don't want to mirror it here. I want to mirror it in the software. Again, I'm not worried about that right now. I'll figure out later how we're going to end up tying in more stuff into this. Because it's going to be awesome. But first I have to figure out how to unbrick what I just did to myself here. Normal drawing mode. Okay, good. No weirdness. So now, what I want to do is I want carefully not gonna lie, I have not made up my mind on how big I want this expression to be, but we'll see here in a minute. Yeah, I don't think I actually here. I just out of curiosity, I'm just gonna look at my. I want to see if I have a thing for that. Avatar selection settings, general settings. No, it's not that. Let's see here. Expression settings. Let's see here. Sorrow, we got the dead, we know about that one. Surprise. Shift 8. Yeah, fancy that. Okay, so I do actually have it. It was just a key binding only. I'll have to add that to my switcher. Do you look surprised? I know I do. The kicker though is with this particular expression, it does require the eyes to be a little bit like really round. Huh. Yeah, after stream, I'm definitely gonna have to add that expression to a button. I love that expression. So, in an effort to get something similar to that, we're gonna wander through the steps here. Let's convert it, upload it. Let's see what it looks like. So we're gonna do file. We're gonna export to images. And then this one is going to be, I already forgot what I was calling this one. Maps. Yeah. It looks so messed up. That's not quite the effect I'm going for. Let's see if I can make it a little less chonky. Maybe instead of 2 layers deep, we only do 1. Now that would leave a lot of LEDs turned off. But maybe that would have more of the desired effect. See what that looks like. All right, let's see what that looks like. Let's convert that out and see, and then we can play. So we got that, and then this is super easy. We just change out the file. And since I already set everything, clear that out and click the generate button. So then now, oh, it held on to the other one. Wait. Rounded, toothy grin, remove. There we go. I was wondering why I was seeing that in there. There we go. So now I have the rounded surprise face. So now we have the appropriate mapping for that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple things. We are going to pull this over. No, I know I specifically didn't grab that extra brace on the end, but that's okay. Because the other thing I have to check too is the declaration. Yeah, it would have been nice if it kept the name when it did that. That's okay. That's what we have this fun thing called copy and paste for. Alright, so we have a rounded surprise face. And we need it to be an external constant unassigned char. Couple things happening here. I specifically have this file separate than the main code because it's going to get messy. So we have the extern, which informs the rest of the sketch that what you're using is not in the main sketch. We then have a constant because this code, which makes up this face, is not going to change. And then we have it as an unsigned char. It's an array of chars. So this is one variable, a comma. This is one element. This is the next element and the element after it. We don't specify a length because it just figures out how many elements there are based on how many commas are in here. And then something that's incredibly important that we do have here is progmem. What this is the programmable area for user data. From what I understand, I have not had the time to sit down and look through the how progmem works fully, but my understanding from what code I've looked at so far is that anything you store in here has to be read-only, or it won't let you store it in prog memory. The other thing that's really important I found from Adafruit, who made the library that this uses. So this right here, this drop bitmap function that is a part of that library, is that this requires the bitmap to be stored inside of progmem or it doesn't work right. What that necessarily means, I don't entirely know because it didn't really elaborate. It just simply said if you don't put it here, it's not going to work as intended. So I figured, I'm not asking, nobody's telling, that's what we're here to do. So with that, we now have the name of our next contestant. And in an effort to save a little bit of time on having to rewrite a switching statement, I'm just going to go grab one out of the other projects I put together. So we're going to go here, we go here, and then I want to grab the ESP32 fan control sketch because this one had the switching statement built in that I was already using before. So I'm just going to copy it from here. And again, the code I'm grabbing is not going to be in the actual sketch, but for right now, this will save me a little bit of writing time. Because right now, you see that there is nothing in the main loop. So what you just saw was all done through one line inside of setup begin. That code only runs once, and since there's nothing in the loop, the board doesn't do anything else after it draws that item to the screen. That's it. It just the board stops doing stuff.
Bob, can I get a glass of water?
I appreciate the hydrate. Thank you. Tonight we have some hot blueberry tea. What y'all getting up to? Some water? Some iced water? Some hot water? Mine's something in the middle. It's hot liquid. Indeed, hydration is important. Coffee. Coffee's good too. I've had a combination of both. I start my day with tea and end it with coffee. And then there's some jitters in between. Okay, so a couple things here. I have a char. And to make this relevant to what we're doing, this will be change face. All right, I don't need this, so I'm just gonna get rid of this. So if the serial monitor is available, we'll read it, and then we will change face. And then what happens then after that will be we need to bring two things over to change the face. I need to tell the buffer, I have to write to the buffer, and then I have to actually show it to the user. It's incredibly important you have the show statement or you won't see the changes. So for case A, we'll have a neutral expression. And then for case B, we will use the new one we just made. And the way I swap that out is grab this variable, and then I'm going to do that. Now, something I do want to see, because I am loading an entire new face, so I'm completely overwriting the buffer for every single LED. And I think for static faces, this will be okay, but I think when it comes time to trying to figure out animation, I don't think that's going to work so well. Because I think the way that it'll end up working when we go to do animation is that the eye and probably the nose, like the first half of the display that just makes up these two items, will be one bitmap, and then the mouth will be a different bitmap, so that you could just update just the mouth and leave these other two items alone. But you have to be careful with that though, because if you only update a part of the screen, then whatever else is left on the screen will overlap. So that could end up leaving LEDs on that we didn't mean to. I think that's how that's gonna work. But again, I'm not into the animation right now. I just food for thought. If you want the pretty picture to move, then you need to account for that. And I'm thinking that's probably how that's going to work. And then all right, so then I don't have a default case, and I removed the extra stuff that didn't belong in there. So let's verify that quick to make sure I didn't forget anything, and then we'll push it and we'll try it. I forgot something. What did I forget? So I have missed a curly brace. That was the curly brace for the if statement. I forgot. I did just simply copy that from the other sketch, so I missed a brace. That's okay, it's an easy enough fix. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and push it. I'm going to push it and switch the camera scene just so you can actually see what happens to the display while it programs. So I'm going to bring us over to here, and I'm going to click upload. So the first thing you'll notice is that the display will completely cut out once it kicks in. And the funny thing is that sometimes LEDs will be left on there briefly, even though we never had that LED turned on in the lower right hand corner. I love that. Okay, so I left the default of the initial expression I had, and then the surprised round face is case B. So I'm going to open up my serial monitor. I'm going to type a capital B on the keyboard, and with any luck. So that answers my question about overwrite. We didn't turn off the other LEDs, so we turned on a couple of more, but we didn't clear what was in the buffer. So to completely reset the screen, we have to clear the buffer first. So I am gonna go into the Google box and find what that command is, because that's important apparently. Let's see here. Proto matter clear buffer. After matrix that fill screen 0 to update the display with the cleared buffer. Let's see here. Clear the buffer in Adafruit's library. You must use the matrix fill screen to 0. Okay. So let's do that. So before we choose an option, now this will be required on all of them. We'll have to do matrix dot fill screen. Let's see here. We've got clear the screen, fill buffer with all zeros. Okay, so it's claiming I could just do it that way. So that should clear. Now, we haven't hit the update yet, so we won't witness this. But the theory is that we set all of the LEDs to off. We then load in our pretty picture. We set the color using this right here. And then we actually show it to your face. The face that we've drawn. So we'll then do the same thing to case B. Okay, so we're going to push that up. I get myself a little more centered here. Make it so that we could see some of those finer changes a little easier. And then all right, cool. So now we have that up there. And now I'm gonna change it. And just like that, I'm surprised. And then to go back to case A, boom. So that clears the buffer. It loads the new data. And then in the screen refresh, it comes out of the buffer, then drops it to the screen. And what I'm doing with the keyboard right now, just going through that simple case statement by typing A and B on the keyboard, will be essentially what the commands that we'll accept from our menu we have. That's really fast to refresh too. Very cool. Very cool indeed. Let's see here. Okay, cool. So we're gonna make a couple more. And part of this whole tinkering thing is to give us something to work with. Stuff can be changed in the future, which is fine, but having at least the initial here's how it works to get us off the ground is really what I'm aiming for. Because I know that even after I have the Protogen together and it's technically quote unquote done, I'm still going to tinker with it. Hell, I'm building it. It'll never really be done. We'll probably have some more fun with it, but I at least want to have enough so that it feels like a finished product, even if, you know, it isn't quote unquote perfect. I'm not shooting for perfect, I'm shooting for functional. And having an arrangement of faces, I think is going to be able to accommodate for that. Okay, so now we're gonna make another one. Let's go for this is gonna be horrendous. I don't care. Oh god, I shot way too high. That's okay. I gotta come a little lower. That's too high. See, this is one of those aspirations when I said I am very much not an artist. But that's not stopping me. Can confirm. I want like a basic heart shape. Try to kind of carve that out of here somehow. That's a mushroom. I made a mushroom. Oh, this is terrible. It's so pathetic. I need a damn visual reference. It's so sad. I don't care. Oh, you know, red's probably a better color, actually, now that I'm looking at this other reference. I think that's what let's try to do red here. So it should be generally what would one consider somewhat, I don't want to say straightforward, because that's not really the angle I'm going for here. But if we figure that the center of this is, we'll say approximately right here. Two, three, 1, 2, 3. And then skip 1. Almost. Probably like one more over. I'm attempting to go for this thing called symmetry. And that's that is harder than it looks. 1, 2, 3, 4. middle, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that puts me 4 and 4. And then on the outer edge, boom bada boom. Alright, I love it. I just realized that I didn't do a save as before we started, but that's okay. I didn't save over the other one. So this is going to be... Well, technically hard I, it's not technically plural. Oh, I didn't hit Control S along the way there, so I should be able to do file, open, do that one, open. Yeah, I didn't write over it. I didn't think I did. Excellent. All right, cool. So let's go through the same rigmarole. Just grab that closing brace. Save me some trouble. And close that one because we're not doing stuff in there anymore. Okay. If it didn't make sense before, I sure hope it does now as to why you're seeing why I put the bitmaps in a separate file. It makes this so much easier to do. So I've declared it. And now let's push it and let's try it. This is the other thing I was kind of hoping for. I was kind of hoping that I could come up with some kind of workflow that I could rapidly, and this is what I would consider rapidly prototype different designs on the display. I could just click some buttons to make pictures and then convert them. That's good enough for me. It kind of makes me stoked though, because this is something literally anyone could do. You can click some buttons to make a sprite. You know, getting the rest of the way here, well, you know, that takes time, research, and commitment, which is what we've been doing this entire time over the last 5 months. But that puts us in a really cool position because I could do stuff like this. I could be surprised. Or I could have bad things happen. Oh no. I lost my eye. Why did I lose my eye? That was supposed to be red. This is an RGB LED display. Where did the red go? We got... Oh. Wait, hang on. Okay. Are you ready? You ready for my a bit of a mistake here? Actually, I don't know if that actually would technically be considered a mistake. I'm gonna show you here in a minute, because remember I said this was gonna be all red, but the matrix I provided technically shouldn't care because it uses whatever color I used to define it. In the code I have it set to be all green, but they're all red LEDs. So let's modify that. So I'm talking about this number right here. And I just told it I wanted all red. So red would be 255. and a 0 on the green. So let's cycle that and see if that gives us the color red we were aiming for. Now, and actually, now I think about it, because I mixed colors, this is just going to make the entire face red. And to be fair, this is why we test. Because it's going to make the whole face red. I know it will. I'm probably not going to see it. We'll see if we see the eye, though. That's what I'm curious in. So, we have that. Oh, helps if I type the right letter. Interesting. So I completely lost the eye. Interesting. Okay, didn't anticipate that. Oh, it's okay. We'll just change the color back to green for now. So we'll go back to green. And we will convert these back to green. And the nice thing is I have the shape. So that comes in super handy. Obviously that is going to require a little bit more of a research thing on my side of things, but it's okay. I am content that I've at least gotten this far. Oh, look at that right there. I missed it. It's not even in the preview. It's missing. So that's interesting. I wonder how come. I wonder if this is not capable of handling more than one color for this conversion, with the way this software works. See, the eye's back now. Interesting. Background color. Yep. See, okay, so that makes sense as to why it wasn't there. Is because it was straight up missing even from the preview. But that's okay. That's why we troubleshoot. Does anybody else have a recommendation for another expression? I'm game to attempt my MS Paint skills at trying to make something. That's better. That looks really good. So we have that face, and that one. Lovely. Very nice. I'm curious though about this. Does this have anything for colors? Simple tool to change images and byte arrays back into images for use with monochrome displays such as OLEDs. So this does not support multicolor. That makes sense. Now, to be fair, as I had discussed in the beginning of the stream, is that my byte array has to be in monochrome format. So just through the nature of that then means that the way I tried to do it wasn't going to work. Because I tried to give it color data, but color data was going to get converted to monochrome, and then it would have been green anyway. So, again, for right now, with this method of handling the bitmaps, it's going to be one color per quote-unquote image. If I break this display up into multiple images, like this be an image, and this be an image, and this be an image, using multiple calls and break up the screen into separate lines, then I should be able to mix and match colors. And you know what? I'm feeling kind of ready for it. Let's try it. Because I think I can figure this out. I just have to break it into more than one bitmap and then stitch the two together. So, looking at the time, we're gonna try that, and then I think we'll call it after that. So, let's go for. Let's do a blue screen. Let's do a blue screen death. So we'll do. We're gonna do a couple things here. First things first, we're gonna do a save as so that I don't screw up this work, and this will be the BSOD face, and then we'll do the BSOD background. So that will give us two negatives that we can work with, and then we'll color each accordingly. So we'll do this, we'll click save, and then we're going to take this, and for simplicity's sake, we're going to do an X over where we have the eyes. Hilariously uneven, and I'm trying. Trying to even this out here a little bit. I think that looks symmetrical. Okay, so this will be our first export. So we'll do. All right, and then to get the negative, then I need to toggle the background to be all blue. Now, I think if I choose to do an all blue background and then just turn off the LEDs that make up the face, that I should be able to convert that. So we'll try it. We'll try to do it that way. So we'll do another save as, and this will be the BSOD background. So this should be a negative then of everything else. So this is going to be a stinking amount of LEDs. They're going to be on. Is it elegant? No. Is there a keyboard shortcut? Maybe. Can't confirm. It's time consuming though. It's okay though. It's one of those aspects of the project that just makes it feel worth it. This is probably gonna be very painful to look at directly. But you know, the nice thing is that since I am programming this as a separate bitmap for the background, if I don't like it, I don't have to use it. I just now realized there's the background thing here. No, I'm committed. It might make my life easier for the next one, but for this one, we're all in. You know, I just realized I probably could make America toggle too, or other flags. You know, could do the pride flag. I might do the pride flag. That'd be a fun one to do. That'd be a hell of a lot of colors. I'll be here a long time if I program that one in. It feels like it'd be worth it though. Now, there is one sketch. Well, we'll see what time it is. I have another thing I do want to add, but that might come for the next stream. So Adafruit has this thing called sand, and I think it would be killer to add to the Protogen Head and go to a rave, because it allows you to make the pixels dance like sand. How awesome would that be, standing in the middle of a rave and just having pixels on your face bouncing around with you in the motion of the music? That sounds awesome. And you know how it works is that there's an accelerometer that's built into this project board. That's how it can pick up on the motion. So I can tell you, if there's room in memory, I'm adding it because it sounds amazing. All right, now that I've done that, now comes the rest of the work here. I have to turn these off now. Because if we want a separate color, then we have to tell the bitmap thing that we're going to use 2 bitmaps at once. And if this does work the way I think it does, this should allow us to mix and match colors. I have to say though, holy attention to detail though. many clicks later. Well, I can't confirm, it's a little terrifying looking without the green. All right. All right, let's see if this works. So the first thing that we know that should work the same is going to be the face. So open that up, and the preview shows it, which looks okay. So we're going to generate that code. So then this one is going to be the BSOD face 1 and 2, because that will make up the actual face itself and then the background. I wonder if I'm stuck using just green for the background, because that looks like that's not going to produce anything that's useful. Transparent, binary. Am I winning? Well, kind of. Nope, they're all zeros. So we have to switch this out for everything to be green. Because of course we do. I need the background to be green. Huh. Oh, please tell me there's a more efficient way to do this. Can I, like, click, shift, and click again? I cannot. Alright, it's okay. I'll just do it this way. See, the kicker here is that I know for a fact that even though I'm setting this to the color green, it's not going to be, because the function is what declares the color. So this is just going to be the negative so that I can change the background. Man, out of curiosity, since you're here, when you made the face on your panel, did you provide it the image, or did you convert the image into machine code? Because the library I'm using right now needs a bitmap in machine language format. And apparently this website does not like any other color than green as of it going right now. Straight PNG. Yep. Yep. Okay. Cool. So that does in fact answer that. Thank you. Does this add more flexibility to what I'm doing it this way? I think so. Is it time consuming? Yes. But anything with some flavor of depth and curiosity is going to. So that's fun. I really wish there was a more efficient way for me to do this. I know if I probably look through the menu options, there probably is. But you know, that's how it goes. I don't understand though why I couldn't pick up on the fact that there was black in the masking. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. We've reached a part of the coding that's more artistic in nature than programming logic, so it's a case of what do you think looks good? And you kind of go from there. Almost there. Alright, cool. So we'll save that. We'll re-export it. And now, this should give me a negative. And it does. So this is a negative of the background. You notice how there's only a little bit of black because that's what we didn't fill in. So then this will be mostly on. Generate code. And then this one's going to be called BSOD Phase 2. Super creative, I know. Hello!
Bob, can I get a glass of water?
I will take that hydrate. It's the right time of the evening for hot blueberry tea. Welcome to the madness. We're in the midst of making faces. I kid you not. We are in fact making faces. That is an adorable emote. Love that. Yeah. Yeah, we've reached the point. I'm in the midst of working on building a Protogen Head. And this particular proto is going to have multiple expressions. It's going to have the expressions controlled with a Wii nunchuck, a couple of different screens. Lumi, I'm going to tell you something right now. When I'm done, the code's going to be public. So if you want to build one yourself, you're more than welcome to. Or if you can find someone, you know, to build the base and you just need the electronics. Again, most of this is going to be, I don't want to say solderless because that's not going to be true, but it's going to have very little soldering involved with the way I'm putting it together. A lot of plugging and playing. Okay, so then now to do this example, we're going to have two draw statements. And then we're going to pull over two things are going to happen here. So I should have used better names, but the face is going to be the actual green portion. And then the background, let me rename that. That's going to bother me. It's a bit of a shitty naming schema. I don't like it. So no more one. And then this is going to be SOD face. Background, because that's technically what it is. Okay, now I wanted this to be a blue background to simulate like having a blue screen of death. So that means that the background, we're going to want to put 255 in the color schema on the end of the red, green, and blue, so that it'll just be a solid blue. And if I have this correctly, the two should mix and match, because we're going to clear the screen. We're going to draw the face with the green indicated here in that bitmap, and then the background with just the blue. So this one should be pretty harsh on the eyes. So let's push that and see what happens. I love red and black. It goes together with that dark evil vibe I love. Much excellence. In that case, then, do you have a proto that's red and black, or do you have a proto in general? Different species? Where do you land on the spectrum in the furry fandom? Lots of different color schemes and characters to choose from. All very exciting. Don't have a persona, but I have a Digimon OC. Ooh, okay. That's exciting. I used to watch Digimon for a long time. That was a good thing to watch in the morning before I had to do anything productive. Oh, wait. I don't know if I didn't, yeah, I'm just gonna push it again. I don't remember if I hit program or if I hit verify. Oh, I'm telling you, there's no brains left behind these floofy ears. His name is Blaze, and he's a... I'm gonna Google that, because I used to remember. It's been so long. It's been so long. The name sounds familiar, too. That's what gets me. Oh, one of those. Okay, cool beans. Yeah, no, that's good. Like I said, I'm kind of bad with names in general. That just kind of solidifies the feeling. Okay, let's give this a try now. So we have our first expression, our shocked expression, the love expression, and then if I did this right, a very harsh expression. Yeah, that works. Oh my god. Okay, so that's hold on. Echo, turn off Team Rocket. It washes out on the camera. That doesn't even make it easier to see, but it worked. It worked. Oh, it hurts to look at though. Echo, turn on Team Rocket. Totally worth it. It hurts to look at. Totally worth it. Yes, you are correct in that assessment. It's stupid bright. Let me see if there's a way for me to dim the brightness. Let's see here. We have. there's got to be a way for me to dim that, right? Let's see. Some kind of brightness code. No, exactly. That's what I'm looking for. Let's see what we can find here. Brightness. Okay, so the brightness is a number that's got to be between 0 and 1. So 10% would be 0.1, 20% would be 0.2, 50% is half, that kind of thing. Let's see how we add that to this. We've got... Oh, if we do... Let's see, so if before we do the show, if we put this in here, all right, so if we do that and then set, right, now this is just example code, so then we have to actually make, actually do the color definition. Now, again, I obviously wouldn't just wedge these in here in the actual production code, but we're just playing around right now. It would help if I was on the right scene. Yeah, so we got those two, and then we have red, green, blue, and then the dimmed color will be... Was it on purpose? No. No, I meant to switch back so you can see what I'm doing. Bold of you to assume I know what I'm doing. Oh, let's see here. All right, so we want the blue like much lower than. Oh, okay. So it looks like we're mapping it between 0 and 255. Is that what we're doing? That's what it looks like. What we're doing. All right, so then let's do some math. If I take 255 and multiply it by, let's say, 0.3, that would give me 30% brightness, which I think would be a little bit more palatable. Let's do a blue of 77. I'll round up. Works out to 76.5. Let's do a quick verify to see if I didn't forget anything. It doesn't like that. How did I do? Why was not declared in the scope? I'm mad. Well, hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. We have a raid. We have a raid from the Sasha. Wait, no, that's not right. Sasha is the last comment I saw. It's from Dragoness. Hello. I am so bad at this. I've been doing this for several years and I still can't get this right. I mean, in fairness, she streams too. Hello, everybody. Yes, Dragoness. Hello. Thank you for the raid. What were you guys up to? Games, art. Were we working on Sib? Because I know you were. Hi, Sib. Hello, Sib. Speaking of Sib, hello. Sib's getting a suit. It's gonna be super awesome. Tell me, Sib, what were y'all doing? Were you doing something fun? You were definitely doing something fun. I believe that. We're here. I'm breaking stuff. Warning. I'm gonna switch scenes for a hot second so I could show you the blinding colors. Something very exciting. My suit now has ears. Oh, excellent. That means you can hear things. We like that. That's the thing we like to see. If you all right. Warning, if you are in a dark room, maybe don't look directly at the screen. Because I have a very blue background and a very green set of LEDs. In person, it looks amazing. On camera, it hurts. It's so overexposed. So in an effort to not blind everyone, here, yes, listen, maybe. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm seeing if I could dim the blue. Because again, if you look at it straight on, it's a bit much. That is bright, but it fits you. You are bright. I try to be. Well, here. Well, actually, that's okay. Yeah, I can still change it. Here, let me show you. So show you and everybody else. I want this one. Nope, I don't want that one. I want that one. Because I could switch back to some of the other expressions I have that don't hurt. There's our flat, like neutral expression. We have surprised. And we have one that would probably fit in Dragoness's mode, the love you mode expression. I had fun putting that one together. Does that go under the film of the head, or is that the film? That is the screen that's gonna live underneath the plastic visor. So the clear plastic visor will clip over that, and then these screens will be behind it. So in theory, there should be a bit of a tint. I've been booped. How dare! Yes, it can be bright, but I was just curious for sanity's sake if I could dim it, because it causes the camera to freak out. Right now, we're very much just toying around with the sample code that I'm playing around with. because we're using this fun program to turn on and off LEDs one at a time, convert them into code, and then bring it over and taking a look at it. It's even brighter if he turns Team Rocket off. That is a fair assessment. And to further that point, Lumi's got a point. Echo, turn off Team Rocket. So, expression 1, expression 2, expression 3, and then kiss your retinas goodbye. Expression 4. So, okay, all right. So I can't show this on camera, but my entire office is lit up right now. Damn, that is so unbelievably bright. Echo, turn on Team Rocket. Yeah, so that's a thing that's occurred. Found out that wait, I lost the comment. Come back. Found out that TikTok that there's an app that one can use to make 3D objects like fursuit head bases fairly easy. An iPad, like a 3D printer soon. Ooh, I like the sounds of that. I can bet there's a giant LED light at that point. Well, of course I put it together as Team Rocket. And Lumi, something tells me you could probably imagine the name of each of those lamps, because there is 2 of them. That name is in fact a grouping. All right, let's see if I can figure out this thing though. I guess I gotta get my shiny army to get them. I am confused. Set pixel color. A box full of them. Ah, gotcha. Diamond colors. Let me just check real quick before I try to do it this way if there is just a simple dot brightness. There is not. Okay, just figured I'd check. Because there's set pixel color. Is there an overload to this? Can I add an extra parameter? No. No, I cannot. Something tells me this probably doesn't accept bitmaps. This is probably gonna fail. We're gonna try it anyway. Let's see here. Cross initialization. Brightness was not declared in the scope. True facts. I did not declare it in this scope. Probably would help if I actually declared the entire set of variables I'm trying to use. I spy a Mr. Green. Hello. You've come at the perfect time. I'm making all of our eyes bleed. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really too worried about dimming it. I'll probably look into that more later, but for the time being, I got the desired effect. You hate to say this. It's 3 a.m. and I need to catch a plane. Oh no. I am concerned by that statement. Listen, if it's too bright, you could turn your screen brightness down. Mr. Green. So in an effort to help you with the whole not sleeping thing, here, let me increase the brightness in your immediate vicinity. Oh. All right, fine. Team Rocket. Let's try it again. Echo, turn off Team Rocket. Yes. We're talking out the big guns. It's hysterical because I am sitting in a completely pitch black office and it this is gonna be so cool when I have this integrated. Can confirm. You're happy you weren't watching your phone, but why? You could kiss your eyeballs goodbye. Echo, turn on Team Rocket. Oh, that's a fun emote. I like that. Yes, I was not in the kidding department with my assessment. We're working on making faces. What time is it? All right, I got time for one more. Let's do one more. We had a raid. Let's make another face. So first things first, let me save this one, and then I'm gonna reload the. Because that'll reinvert the. I did it again. I loaded this one. This is the green area of that blue and green monstrosity. Yeah, so we have a basic expression. We have the dead face with the blue background, the very, very blue background. Chat, we need one more. What other expression do we want to try to make? I could try doing an Angie face. Probably could actually work with the base. Yeah, if we work with this one. Just to some overimposed Angie eyebrows. The eyes are a little too high though. See, to do that then, because normally like when I'm going to use my face as an example here, right? So to get an angry face, I have to drop. Actually, you could just drop the shape, keep it more rounded at the bottom. So if we round this area out, and then just drop the top of the expression. Extra angry. So if we come down to a point, we want a defined line there, It almost come up like a wisp. So if we do that, I have to actually look at my own sprite here. Hang on. So if I do more rounded, all right. So I'm trying to look at it, but I keep blinking. Ugh. You know, I look pretty angry for a guy without any eyebrows. You know what? Let me take a screenshot of my face so I can attempt to draw the shape. All right. Do that so I stop jiggling around so much here. So, all right. So more of a point to the front and wider in the back. I clicked the wrong button. So wider in the back. And then more LEDs towards the bottom. I love watching others draw expressions. You get to see the show, get to show the expression as they focus. Indeed, indeed. And at the same time, I'm over here. This is glorified MS Paint activity, but as you can see, it does translate into something that's fun. So there's that. I, without a doubt, can confirm I am not artish shaped. I am standing in. If I go up with it, it's more of a sassy face. See, the mouth goes out to the front. It's still more rounded in the back. Kinda. I think part of the problem is the angle of attack is further back. So to kind of add to the angry, I think the tip of the expression should probably end a little higher. So end up here. And then kind of fill out a little bit more. It still kind of has that wider base feel to it. You have a kilo of cheese? Oh my word. I almost want to ask the question, what does one do with a kilo of cheese? But I already kind of know the answer to the question. It feels kind of rhetorical. See, this expression from just even the preview kind of feels like it's more of a sassy than an angry. You eat it, my good man. You nom 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 till there's no more cheese. Indeed, unless it wasn't your cheese, and then it's not your cheese, no matter which kind it is. Yes, the pun is Gouda. That is what we do here. I have many of dad jokes. They only get worse from here. Can confirm. I'm not liking it. Not the cheese, the what I'm doing over here. Oh, that looks like good cheese. That sounds nice. This is such a strange form of programming. I'm doodling. I am doodling, and then I'm converting it to code. It's a very, very strange way to do this. I'm not complaining. It just feels weird. Let me see if I can try to get more of a general shape here. This is driving me kind of nuts. My issue is that there's no decent way to get a kind of a straight line. And then the bottom is almost more rounded. It almost comes to like a really fine point, which almost looks like it ends back here instead of out here. I think that's more of the angle of what I'm looking for. feel like it doesn't make sense without an eyebrow for the angry expression. Even though I don't know. I feel like if I maybe spend more time with it, I could probably craft the shape I'm looking for, but without trying to like align this with a mask, which I don't think I figure out how to do here quickly enough. I think this is more of the angle we're going for. But I do want... I do want it to come out, though, over the entirety. I mean, what if we just... What if we didn't have that wisp? Let's export this and see what this looks like. I'm struggle busting here a little bit. Can't make up my mind, so we're just gonna kind of go for it and kind of see what happens here. And then just a little bit as a reminder, this is again just a switching statement, so we can actually just kind of play with the code without having to worry about trying to integrate it into the main project. That is coming. But for right now, just like I said earlier, I wanted to just play with the faces, and a quick switching statement gives us the flexibility without having to worry too much about accidentally copying and pasting too much stuff at once. I just realized I misspelled angry. That's okay. The variable could be misspelled for a minute or two. Okay, so if we take a look at the Angie face, I don't know if I'd necessarily classify that as angry. It's something though. Time to get out of Italy. See you later. Okay, sounds good. Fly safe. Do the whoosh thing in the air. I don't know. I think I'll have to just play with the expression a little bit more to really solidify what I want that to look like. But that's okay. This is exciting though. I'm definitely gonna be playing more with this off stream, where time allows, and then we get to move on to the next part. There's gonna be a big show and tell once I get all the smaller pieces integrated, and then we'll do a big demo of all of the different pieces working together. It's gonna be a little bit before we get there, but that's okay. For next stream, let me take a look at my calendar. I don't think I'm gonna be here for next Wednesday, the 11th, but I should be back the week after. If anybody is looking for updates, just check my Discord. If my schedule changes and I end up being here on the 11th, well then I'll be live. But I don't think I'm going to be here for that day. So that's at least where we're at right now. So with that out of the way, I'm going to click some buttons here. And we are going to do the thing. Let me see where we're going to go wander off to. Alrighty, cool beans. Excellent. Okay, cool. So we are going to go swing over and check out Cozy, who is currently playing the game Life is Strange. Looks like it's a first playthrough kind of thing, so that'll be a bunch of fun. So with that, thank you all for stopping by, and we will have more fun in the days to come, and sooner rather than later we're gonna start building stuff, so that's exciting. I know that once we get to the battery, that's really gonna solidify, you know, moving forward with starting to talk about filament, 3D printing, and figuring out templates for the fur material, like building. We're actually going to be building. It's very exciting. And cooling, because that's going to have to be integrated in there, but we already know that. We have code for that. So with that, I look forward to more fun in the near future. Bye-bye for now.